Buckle up and let's start. You may now proceed to the next page. Let's start with what I know. This part of the module is the pre-test, so please take time to answer. After you have finished answering the pre-test, you may check your answers using the answer key on page 12 of this module. If you got a score of 10, you may not proceed with this module, but you are still encouraged to go on with the activities. If you got a score of 9 and below, take 50 minutes each day to read the lesson and answer the activities that are given. Last time, we learned about mixtures and its types. You have learned that a mixture is a combination of two or more pure substances in which each pure substance retains its individual chemical properties. Mixture can be combined in different ways and are classified as either homogeneous or heterogeneous. You have learned that homogeneous mixture is a mixture that has a uniform composition throughout. Only one component is distinguishable after mixing two or more different components. Heterogeneous mixture is a mixture that does not have uniform composition wherein substances mixed together can be distinguished from each other. This time, let us learn mixture further. For you to relate in our new lesson, do the activity in the What's New part. Please be reminded to prepare all necessary materials before starting the experiment. Please ask the assistance of your parent or guardian or elder siblings in doing the activity. Write everything that you observe. How do you find the activity? What have you found out? Let's study this diagram. This diagram shows the types and kinds of mixtures. Mixtures are categorized as homogeneous and heterogeneous, but these two are classified as solution, suspension, and colloid. Let's have the first kind. The first kind of mixtures is solution. As you can see, solution is under homogeneous mixture. What does that mean? You're right. The minor component is uniformly distributed within the major component, thus only one component is recognizable. Let's study this example further. Salt water is a combination of salt and water. Look at this picture. Can you distinguish the salt that was mixed in the water? No, right? What component can you distinguish in the salt water? Correct, it's the water alone. A solution is a mixture where one of the substances dissolves in the other. It is a homogeneous mixture that involves a substance that is being dissolved, called solute, and substance that does the dissolving, called solvent. Let's take another example. Another example of solution is coffee. Coffee is a mixture of coffee granules and water. But if you mix them together, the coffee granules will dissolve. Thus, only the darkened water is recognizable. Which of the two components of coffee is the solute? Correct, the coffee granules. How about the solvent? You're right again, the water. These two examples, the salt water and the coffee, are solutions. Remember, if you can only distinguish one component of a mixture, it is a solution. Before we proceed to the next kind of mixtures, let me introduce to you these two kinds of solution, the miscible and the immiscible. We use these terms to distinguish mixtures of liquids. Do you know that there are liquids which combine well if mixed together? We call this mixture as miscible solution. Examples are mixture of alcohol and water, disinfecting liquid and water, and many more. Do you know also that there are liquids which do not dissolve each other? This mixture is called immiscible solution. The best example here is the mixture of oil and water. Can you tell more examples of miscible and immiscible solutions? The second kind of mixtures is suspension. Look closely at where it belongs. Is it homogeneous or heterogeneous? Correct. It is a heterogeneous mixture. Let's look at these examples. Are these mixtures familiar to you? Can you tell me why suspension is a heterogeneous mixture? Can you recognize the components of each mixture? Let us take a look at this first example. What do you think is this? You're right. This is a mixture of water and oil. Even though you keep on stirring the water and the oil, they will never mix together except if you use an emulsifier. The oil floats in the water. This is a good example of liquid suspension. Let's take another example. What is this? You're right. It is a muddy water. Can you still see the mud in the water? What happens if you leave this mixture for a period of time? Yes, the mud will settle at the bottom. That is because the mud is insoluble. Can you name other examples of suspension? The third kind of mixtures is colloid. Colloids are generally considered heterogeneous mixtures but have some qualities of homogeneous mixtures as well. Colloid particles may be seen in a beam of light, such as dust in air in a shaft of sunlight. One distinct characteristic of colloid is its jelly-like appearance. They are also opaque or cloudy. Let's look at these examples. Let's name the pictures. What is in the first picture? Correct. It's a glass of milk. How about the second picture? Yes, clouds. The third picture? You're right, a bowl of mayonnaise. The fourth? Very good, it's a toothpaste. These are examples of colloids. Do you have any question or clarification? Please feel free to contact your teacher or you can watch again this video. If you think you understood the lesson, you may proceed to the activities and assessments on pages 7 to 9 of your module. Check your answers on the answer key on page 12. If your scores in the assessments 1 to 3 are perfect, you may proceed to the next part of the module. If it is 4 and below, you need to go back to the discussion part on pages 5 to 7 of the module and read. Then answer again the item that you did not get correctly. Make sure you do not miss any activity in this module. Check and return all the materials in the learning package before returning them to the kiosk near you. Good luck and have fun! See you again in the next module. Thank you.
Great morning, learners. I am Lloyd Abuslay, your science teacher for today. So today, may I welcome you to the science world. Your first stop is Module 1, which is the human respiratory system. As you can see in the cover art, which was illustrated by my cousin Prisnedi Nebalasca, it depicts two important respiratory organs. We have your lungs, branching from each are sac-like structures, and later on find out how do we call those structures. So moving on, at the end of this module, you are expected to learn the following objectives. 1. Identify the major parts of the human respiratory system and each part's function. 2. Describe the movement of the diaphragm, the air go in and out of the lungs. And 3, explain the mechanism on how the respiratory and circulatory system work together to transport nutrients, gas, and other molecules to and from the different parts of the body. But before that, you are required to answer a 15 test items as the pre-assessment to test your prior knowledge regarding the module. So part A comprises identification, and part B, you need to answer the questions. So, are you done? Okay. You can refer to the answer key to check if you got perfect score. If you got a perfect score, then you may not go over this module. But still, I encourage you to go over the activities and answer all the questions asked in this module. Okay, so let's have a review of what you learned when you were in grade 8. So let's have first a review of the human digestive system. So, in your module, you will find there a page wherein you are asked to label or give the number corresponding to the part or parts identified. So the part anus is answered for you. So it's your turn to answer the rest. Are you done? Okay, great. Now, what if I will be making use of an inverted guava tree branch? Will you be able to identify the different parts of the human respiratory system, such as the trachea, the bronchi, bronchioles, and the alveoli inside the lungs? Try it, and I know you can do it. So, what are the major parts of the human respiratory system? The human respiratory system is actually classified or divided into two components. We have first the conducting zone. So from the word conduct, this serves as a continuous passageway of air as it moves in and out of the lungs. So it comprises the nose, the nasal cavity, the pharynx, which serves as a common passageway of food and air, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, and the bronchioles. The second functional zone is what we call as the respiratory zone. It is made up, or it is comprised of, the respiratory bronchiole and the alveoli. So these are the sac-like structures which are depicted in the cover art just a while ago. Another one is what we call as the breathing mechanism. So as you can see in your module, you have an illustration of what we call the inhalation process or the breathing in, and the exhalation process, which is the breathing out. So observe closely how the diaphragm moves and how the chest expands or contracts during the two processes. So these processes or movements will actually help air move in, or the concepts. Good. Now let's have a check if you were able to understand all the lessons presented. In the what's more part, you are going to understand, or you will have a better understanding of the concepts which were presented just a while ago. So it is made up of 3 activities and 3 assessments. For activity 1 and assessment 1, it is more on the different parts of the human respiratory system. For activity 2 and assessment 2, the inhale and exhale process, it will help you better understand how air moves in and out of the lungs. And for the activity 3 and assessment 3, you will be able to understand better how the body systems, specifically the human respiratory system and the circulatory system, work together. So, engage yourself actively in all these activities and assessments. Now, it's time to summarize what you learned in this module. So in this part, you are going to complete the graphic organizer prepared for you to summarize the concepts on human respiratory system. Take note that you are given keywords or phrases which will guide you answer the activity. In the what I can do part, you are asked or tasked to list down at least 5 ways on how you can take good care of your respiratory system. I know you know a lot of things or ways that you can do, but you can just list down 5 specific ways. Are you done? Okay, moving on. You are also tasked to answer the post-assessment part, which is made up of 15 points multiple choice. Okay, so if you will get at least 12 correct answers, then you may not do the additional activity prepared. Hi. So for the additional activity, again, you are tasked or asked to label the parts of the human respiratory system. So identify the major parts which were discussed in this module. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed your first journey today. I hope you enjoyed your first journey. This is Teacher Loida telling you that learning is fun if you do your work diligently.
Ayak di kabenggetan.
Programa binukel iti Department of Education, Division of Benguet. Tapno ag tultuloy nga maipaayan ti adal dagiti patpatgen ken dungdungwen tayo nga anak nga agbasbasa uray ita agdama a pandemya. Na isang sangayan na programa iti radyo nga pakaitampukan iti napateg nga ad-adal. Ad-adal nga mainaig asa ti anak tayo a maibinsa-binsa babaen iti panangipalpalawag iti nasisirib ken nasasariri nga manursuro. Isuda dagiti mamaestra ken mamaestro tayo iti DEPED Benguet nga inkay makadkadwa iti tangatang. Isagsagot kada kayo iti Department of Education, Division of Benguet, ken daytoy nga istasyon.
Ayasak
Di kabenggetan.